Hi, it's Megan. I have a brand new fragrance and it is the Raw Spirit. Great, my lighting is so Mystic Pearl. And this is actually a totally new fragrance. This is a fragrance that the brand is just releasing now in June. And this is an early release of it, which they kindly sent to me. So anyone who watches my channel knows that I very rarely take free product just because I feel pressure. When I take free product, it's to say I like it, whether I do or don't. And this is a brand that I ran across at a makeup expo here in Los Angeles. And I was kind of blown away by the concept, but also the execution. So concept is one thing, but then how well you actually make the fragrance itself is, to me, more important. And so what do you need to know about Raw Spirit first? And then I'll tell you about the fragrance, which is their new one. And they have about 7 fragrances at this point. So they say that they are celebrating the unique natural ingredients and spirit of some of the world's oldest cultures and communities. So basically what they have done is they collaborated initially in an art project, Nomad 2 Worlds, which they went all over the world. From the Australian outback, mountains of Haiti, to the Florida Everglades. And then they took some of the ingredients from those habitats. First they took pictures, and then they took some of the ingredients, and then they give back. And just to cut to the chase really quickly so you don't have to hear a whole bunch of background without getting to where I'm going on the fragrance, there's a freshness and an authenticity and a naturalness, which is a good thing in this perfume, the one that I have here today. I don't know, I feel like sometimes with the fragrances being kind of muted over time, even by the biggest lines, even the biggest formulas that have been around for a long time, formulas keep changing for 2 reasons. One, it's cheaper, and using synthetic ingredients instead of natural ones smells worse, but it's cheaper. And then also certain ingredients have been banned, which make it harder to include them. This is a very fresh, vibrant, and I don't want to say natural smelling because that sounds too crunchy organic, but it has that feel of like the old time fragrances, in that it has intensity and a vibrancy that you don't get from artificial fragrances. So the Raw Spirit brand was inspired by Australian photographer Russell James' collaborative art project, Nomad 2 Worlds, which explores the clash of ancient and modern cultures and celebrates the richness of indigenous and marginalized communities around the world. So this is a socially conscious business, I think I said that, who basically works with a local community on every single perfume to source some of the products. So they started first with Dr. Richard Whaley, artist and spokesperson of Western Australia's Nogar people, and they brought Fire Tree, which was in 2012, and it uses kind of the indigenous knowledge of the fire tree's unique qualities. They work with Haiti, they work with a National Indian group, and now the new one. So let's just get there. So that's what that was a long introduction for a perfume. So this one, they say, is inspired by the mystical islands of Bali and the pristine waters of the South Seas, and home to the magnificent Queen of Pearls. And you're going to hear some noise in the background. And so here they say it has this luminous fragrance, has a burst of ocean freshness. I just can't read it in my lighting. From our signature ingredient, pearl, refreshing scent, mingling the heady mix of white flowers, jasmine, and frangipane with a hint of coconut and the tropical spices, cinnamon, clove. Sorry about that. I just like to get the right lighting for the video, and this has writing in gold, which I didn't think about ahead of time. So this is the box, and you open it up, and these are available on the brand's website, and I will put a link to the website in the description of this video. And so you get this beautiful fragrance. And now you hold the background fragrance noises. So here's the bottle, and it's a spray, which is really nice. And what do I think of the fragrance? So what we had as an ingredient list: frangipane, jasmine, white flowers, cinnamon, clove, and then coconut. And I've been a huge fan of the summer fragrances. So I feel like almost a connoisseur of coconut in fragrance, where you can have kind of the mature coconut, you can have the, I don't know, artificial, a little too much coconut, and then you can have that fresh young green coconut. Here, this was like a wow moment, because as much as I've looked at summer fragrances and really talked about them a lot in past videos, this one took that whole concept of a summer fragrance and turned it a little bit to the side. First of all, on this one, there's no vanilla. And I keep sniffing it over and over again, like, do they hide vanilla in here? Because most of them, they're like white flowers, coconut, vanilla. Sometimes they add salt, sometimes they add, you know, ylang ylang, sometimes all these little things they add, but vanilla's been a constant, and this one has no vanilla. So what does that mean? So what it means is that I get just a very heady garden-like scent of white flowers. And by that, I mean, I'm smelling, you know, when you walk by a hedge, or let's take you to a tropical place, because these are a little bit more warm and vibrant and glowing white flowers. They're not that kind of cool English garden thing. They're more like you're in Hawaii or in your Bali, of course, and you just smell that heady, intoxicating white flower glow. And definitely it has that kind of sultry, exotic, I don't know. How do you describe jasmine? Jasmine is like something you just know. It just hits you and it's like, wow, that's like a little bit more sexy than I expected. So it's got that purity of that tropical, clean, white flower thing with a little bit of jasmine. And the frangipane, that just adds a little bit of a mystical to it, which totally fits the brand, because if you go to their website, they have these beautiful pictures of like mountains and seas, and they're not like natural pictures. They're very artsy, mystical, ethereal, spiritual pictures. Totally in the fragrance. I totally get that. And as we're smelling the coconut in it, it's adding not the sweetness of the vanilla coconut thing, which is totally missing, but a little bit of a green milkiness, if that makes sense. It just makes it less old lady English garden and more fresh, vibrant, new, and interesting. I do not get the cinnamon and clove spiciness when I spray it. That takes, I would say on me, about a half an hour to start to round out the fragrance. And then I've been critical in the past of clove and cinnamon in fragrances, because sometimes, and I love clove and cinnamon, so don't get me wrong, I love the concept, but sometimes the execution can be a little overbearing. And in this case, I liked the fact that it was very light. It was like just sprinkling a touch of cinnamon and a touch of clove on my white flowers with coconut, with a touch of coconut. So it wasn't, first of all, it wasn't unisex. This to me is a very feminine fragrance. But it also wasn't just heavy and cloying. It worked a lot. So I feel that element starting to build a half an hour in, and then it kind of reaches its intensity on me about 2 hours in, and then it fades away again. This is a very long-wearing fragrance on me compared to some others, especially these days. This one wears a good 8+ hours, so I can like sniff it and smell it, and it's always, again, a judgment call for me. If I'm wearing a fragrance and I can't smell it after 4 hours, is that because I'm so used to smelling it that I just don't smell it anymore? Or is it that it doesn't smell anymore? It's just not the fragrance, it's just gone. So this to me, I said, was a sophisticated white floral. It had kind of an Italian feel to it, if that makes any sense. And to me, the Italian fragrances are just a little bit I don't know, the French ones veer sophisticated. The Italian ones veer to kind of ethereal, but still intense and vibrant, and I don't know, they have this romanticism to them, which the French can have too, but in a cooler sort of a way. I also said that the cinnamon is stronger than the clove, and I really just feel like I'm in a tropical garden, but not like a coconut pineapple kind of sweet coconut garden or tropical garden, just one of just blooming, vibrant flowers in the sunshine. And this is a weird comparison, and nobody is going to agree with me on this, but I did a Penhaligon's Astra review not that long ago, and that to me felt like an English garden. It had that kind of freshness, that vibrancy, that really old school perfume feel. This one to me is a fresh modern scent that still has that old school feel of, you know, you're getting the real perfume. You're not getting a bunch of chemicals that are meant to smell like what was the perfume. And that's what I like best about this. I find that these types of perfumes are harder and harder to find. And so when I met with the brand at the conference and I smelled some of their scents, I was like, oh wow, I just really like this brand, because it has that vibrancy and that realness that sometimes scents don't have anymore. So overall, obviously I like this, and you can get it on their website. And I'm not going to put a price because I think prices change. Videos last a long time. This is called Raw Spirit, and is Mystic Pearl. Oh, and that's the thing I forgot about this. There's pearl in this, and I cannot figure that out. I'm not sure if pearl adds a fragrance. But they do add just a touch of pearl, and I think part of that is just supporting the local population and making sure that when they are selling this fragrance, they are giving back to the local community. So you will know that if you buy this, you are giving back to the local community. They are contributing for education for children in Bali, which is kind of a nice thing. I don't know that the pearl adds a lot of fragrance, but it kind of adds a mystic feel to it. So overall, this is a great fragrance. I really love it, and I do like the brand. I have some other samples and another perfume bottle from them, so I will work through those bit by bit, and I have just been a little bit overwhelmed off of YouTube with things to do. So I've been a little slower posting videos, but I will get those up. And part of it with the fragrances is just that it takes me a little while to wear them and get to know them. It's not like makeup where you can look at it for 2 days and see what you think. Fragrance is just, it's emotional. So overall, what I like about this, what I like about it is that it has a real old school intensity to the fragrance. It doesn't smell like chemicals or it smells like real flowers, frangipane, jasmine, and some white flowers. It's like wandering through a tropical garden on a summer's night. I think that's the way of describing it. Softened with coconut, no vanilla, it doesn't get sweet. It makes it a little bit more universal and a little bit less summer-like. And then it has bits of clove and cinnamon to add sophistication and depth. And who would like it? People that like it are ones who want light, fresh, white flower fragrances that have a little bit of complexity to them, kind of a mix of the modern with some of the old school feel to it, in a good way, in a really good way. This is not dusty old lady at all, which, by the way, sometimes I love dusty old lady. This doesn't fall into that category. So dusty old lady is not put down to me. It is actually a good thing. This is not dusty old lady though. This is fresh, vibrant, young, and it really does have a nice spirit to it. It's an ethereal perfume. And I've done some incense perfumes where I talked about etherealness as well. This has that ethereal feel without the incense. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to end the video. I do really like it. If you try it, I would love to hear what your thoughts are, or if you try some of the other fragrances. And every single one is drawing from some sort of natural ingredient and then giving back to the community from which they're getting that natural ingredient, which has to be a plus too. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe on YouTube. It helps me a lot, and more videos to come.